Okay, I think we have, let's see, who is Aaron? Has Aaron?
I see Aaron.
Okay, I see Aaron. Catherine.
There's John.
I see Catherine. I see John. I'm just checking for our judges. Okay, I think we have everyone. Maya, I believe we have everyone. Let's get started. Okay. Can y'all hear me okay? I think I'm good. All right. All right.
I feel like I was on mute.
Okay.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Again, as you know, my name is Maya Hyman, and I'm the Fund Development Corporate Relations Coordinator and WBEA Women's Business Center Cares Project Lead. I am so excited to see everyone here this morning for the championship round. I'm very excited to hear from our contestants. Woo! We just want to thank our corporate member and WBEA pitch sponsor, CenterPoint Energy, for making this unique opportunity a reality. And at this time, please welcome our WBEA Women's Business Enterprise Alliance President, April Day, to get us started.
Now, see, this is the part of the presentation where we typically would be like, yay, we're so excited to be here. So instead, we're just gonna put our clap icons up. I already see Zan has done it because we have made it to the championship round. Wow, so excited. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the first virtual WBA pitch powered by CenterPoint Energy. And I have to say, congratulations to all of our contestants. It wasn't easy. In fact, in the last round, we had some surprise changes that had us have, instead of 2 people advancing to the championship round, we had 3 people advancing to the championship round. Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. So anyway, we will be introducing all of those WBE contestants shortly. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping items to help maximize your experience today. Those of you who have been with us along the way, this will sound very familiar. So you can just help each other along and help everyone along in the chats while we're going through this if someone seems to get stuck. If you haven't done it yet, please make sure to turn on your video and mute your sound. We want to see that you're all engaged. Engagement, the options are available. So first, we want to know who's in the room. You might have heard me saying, who's this number? It's kind of like when you walk into the room and you see someone across and you go, who is that? They look familiar. I think I know them. Well, that's the same thing with when we see a phone number, it's like, who is that popping up in here? I think I know them. Let's identify them. So if you do not have your name showing, please rename your block. And it's very easy. If you're, when you look at your video, there's probably 3 dots off to the side, and you can click rename and then type in the name that you want us to remember you by. So think of this as your name tag, and that's a name that will also show in the chats as well. Now, speaking of chats, we want to keep this conversation going, especially the encouragement happening along the way. So while only the judges will be allowed to ask questions of the contestants, you can feel free to share your feedback and encouragement inside of the chat. And it's so amazing to go back and look at these chats. Our contestants will be able to see this, and it's just a really great way to stay involved. So this is kind of like you're whispering off to the side, she's freaking awesome. Yeah, that's what the chats do. So you also may clap and engage intentionally by using your reaction buttons. So you can do a thumbs up or a clap icon, and it's located right there at the bottom of your screen. Most of the times at the bottom of your screen. The other thing that we will be doing is moving you into breakout rooms, and this is very, very important. When you see that join breakout room icon, it's very important for you to click it as soon as you see it. And then you may find that I will send you a message while you're in the breakout room, and that's just to make sure that you kind of know where we are going throughout the day. Now, let's just try it out for a moment. Everyone just gives a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Let me see them all across. All right. I see a couple of thumbs up coming.
I still haven't figured out how to do thumbs up, so I'm going to do virtual.
That's okay. Okay, virtual anyway, that's good. We can see it. This is awesome. Thank you so much. You have your choice to view in your gallery today. You can either do gallery view or you can do speaker view. But the cool thing is, for the ease and showmanship of this event, we will spotlight the video of the speaker. So right now you may be seeing me speaking with just my face and the PowerPoint screen that's up right now. So Maya is the maestro behind the scenes, making sure that each contestant has their video spotlighted. The judges will not be confused on who is in that speaking space. And this is your stage. So take advantage of this space because all eyes are on you. So speaking of you, there have been over 50 applicants that had applied to participate in this event, but only 20 were selected to compete. So through 3 rounds of competitions, WBEs made their way to land in the top 2 or top 3. And the top from each of the 3 rounds are competing today in this championship round. They have the opportunity to also invite their family and friends to come along and join them. So, I mean, the pressure is on, but thank goodness you're not alone. You are surrounded by an amazing network. So here we are. 2020 WBA Pitch, powered by CenterPoint Energy. And CenterPoint has been a major champion of women business enterprises, winning several awards, not just from the WBEA, but within the supplier diversity landscape, supplier diversity and energy specifically. So I also want to share with you that we have, speaking of our vast network, we have individuals that are joining us because they are also participants. Well, WBEs from their region are participating. And now there's Sheila Meekson, and she is the president and CEO of Ohio River Valley, one of our RPOs in the WBEA network. So excited to have you with us. And if she hasn't joined yet today, you will also see Dr. Pamela Williamson, and she is joining from WBEA West. So we decided to make this a 3-region event. So we had WBEs across our 3 regions to participate today. And I'm so excited to be here with my fellow RPO leaders because we get along great, but I think the reason why we get along great is we know how important this work is. When no one else knows how important this work is, you've got a friend in us to know how important this work is. And so I'm excited that we also get to do this with you. Now, with that, let's give a round of applause with our icons and welcome our leadership and safety message. I believe she's doing a safety message, not sure. But let's welcome CenterPoint's Carla Knepp. She is the Senior Vice President for Treasury, Sourcing, and Logistics and Risk. And she is going to deliver our leadership welcome this morning. So let's give it up for Carla.
Good morning, all. I'll start by just confirming you can hear me. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Maya. And I'll apologize in advance. I have a 4-year-old that does often come in and do drive-bys. I think I've got him occupied, but if I don't, please just ignore him. And I'm doing my best to make sure that he is not going to participate in the presentations today. I think the thing that I want to start off with is congratulations at getting to the final round. This is phenomenal. I personally am very excited to see everybody's presentation today. I've heard the competition has been phenomenal and that the presentations have been exceptional. And so I will admit I have high expectations, but that's because you guys have already set the bar based on the past presentation. So congratulations to getting to this point. Please don't be nervous. I mean, this is something that you have had years to perfect, and if you don't think you have, take a moment, reflect back on what it is that's brought you here today, and leverage all of that past experience because there's really no need to be nervous. I say that and I acknowledge you guys will be, so just really try to take a deep breath and focus on the message that you want to get across today. And I want to thank the team for asking me to participate. I'm very excited to be part of it. And other than Freddie, I've cleared my morning so that there should be no distractions for any of the presentation. I'll go ahead and do a safety share now. And it's really about summer and being close to water. For those that are on the call that are in the Houston area, you know that we have Galveston that's not too far away. And jellyfish are things that, if you go to the beach, are a reality. And right now they seem to be in high order. And if you go to any of the beaches around the United States, they're also an issue. And it's really just to make sure that when you get in the water, be careful, because jellyfish stings do hurt a lot. And if you still feel you're going to go to the beach, bring vinegar, because if you get stung, it can be very helpful to take away some of the pain that's going on. And it unfortunately can be a very significant distraction to your enjoyment by a jellyfish. So that's my safety share. We have probably 3 more months of beach time. And I know working in this environment, people are wanting to get out, and unless beaches are super crowded, it is a good place where social distancing can occur. So that's my safety share, and look forward to the morning. Congratulations for getting this point, and looking forward to all the presentations.
Awesome, thank you so much. Well, before we begin, before we just dive right in, allow me to recognize a few more people that really helped make today possible. Let's give it up for Kimberly Dunning. I know you all have met her. We have all come to love her. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for everything that you've done to make this a success. You're phenomenal. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, not just because you are a fellow dog lover, but I can tell that this work is important to you, and we believe you. And so thank you for everything that you've done to help us put this together. And then also Linda Graves. Oh my gosh, if you haven't met Linda Graves, you are missing out on not only a beautiful spirit in this work, but also an amazing advocate. So take some time to get to know her. Linda, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for getting involved and being a supporter as we put this together, and probably more. So thank you again for all of your energy that the two of you have done for this event. And thank you all for being here today and your energy and support as we launch this first virtual WBEA pitch. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed panel of judges for the final championship round. We have joining us again, Carol Banner. Carol is the manager of strategic sourcing. Catherine Carmichael. Catherine, thank you again for joining us again, Manager of Safety Services and Communications. And let's welcome back Elise LeBlanc. Elise is the sourcing specialist. And my favorite namesake, April Prada, and she is the area manager. And then we have Aaron Rabin, Director of Strategic Sourcing, and Barbara Varanowski, who is the Director of Fleet Shop Services, Radio, and Communication. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have our special guest, and that is our Senior VP, I believe. I'm doing this by memory, John. So thank you so much. If you hadn't had an opportunity to speak with John, he was our first speaker when we launched this on the very first day 3 weeks ago. Thank you so much, John, for being with us today. So let's just give a wave out to John. All right. Now, before we start getting into our contestants, here are the rules. Each contestant.
April, can I say something really quickly?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to a quick shout out to John, because John is the one that brought this idea to us. He was a judge at the National Summit and Salute last year that was held in Houston, and he was the judge during the WBEAPitch competition, and he came away from that super, super excited, and he knew at that time that we could replicate that here at CenterPoint. So shout out to John for putting the idea in my head, and this is the work after that conversation that has come to fruition. So shout out to John. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. John, I hear a He's for She's award coming your way. You haven't been awarded that yet, right? Because we might have to, position you to be a WBEA representative for that We Bank He's for She's award. So thank you so much for your support along the way. So now each contestant has a total of 10 minutes. Most of those minutes should be reserved for their presentation. We have recommended that there are 5 minutes for their presentation and then 5 minutes of Q&A from the judges. No questions will be asked from the audience, but you may send encouragement in the chat with each contestant, and that they will receive at the end of the WBA pitch competitions. At the end of the round, the timer will go off and the contestants and judges will be alerted that their time is up. Judges will take a few minutes to complete their initial notes, and the pitches will be scored based on a judging rubric to include the opening, competitive edge, value for CenterPoint, and the overall demonstrated capability. When all contestants have finished their pitches, the judges will receive a message on the screen to join the judge deliberation room, where they will deliberate on the winner. WBEs will be returned to your WBE lounge. Now, please welcome our first contestant, Kyra Hardwick from the Kyra Company. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kyra Hardwick with the Kyra Company. I am the managing consultant of a full-service business development firm. I'm excited to be here, CenterPoint. Thank you for this opportunity. We are a full-service business development firm offering services in 3 core areas: strategic consulting and business development. That looks like us working with you to develop your strategic plans, making sure that you have the course set for the next 1, maybe the next 3 years, especially as we navigate very turbulent and unpredictable economies like the one we're in right now. Another area of focus that we have is operational management. We want to make sure that your today's operation is running efficiently. The Kyra Company comes into your organization. We leverage the support of the leadership, and we help to increase the capacity of your teams. We're all about incredible talent management and understanding where your next leaders are so we can help them rise to the top. Our third tier of service is training and development. Here's where everyone can get involved. Our focus is making sure that the top tier talent has a very strong next level so that they know when it's time to put that succession plan in place, CenterPoint Energy is in great hands. Our goal is to make sure that not only are we retaining and maintaining great talent, that our continuous improvement and learning perspective is in place, but we want to make sure that CenterPoint is competitive. As we branch out into new markets and increase our capacity, CenterPoint needs a value-add partner like the Kyra Company that understands how to make sure that those that face the customer do a great job. And so our focus is to make sure that those 3 core areas are delivered in excellence. We will provide you, CenterPoint Energy, with access to over 15 years of business development experience. We've definitely spent our time in corporate America, so I haven't always been an entrepreneur as the founder of this organization, nor has my team. So we will bring industry and insight from industrial industries such as automotive, distribution. We have a logistics background, also bringing a very unique touch of automotive design. So not only have we been exposed to the lean manufacturing processes, we've been successful at it. So adopting that and applying that to our operations in our wonderful space of service-facing industry like healthcare. Healthcare, there are very few calls that come into healthcare centers or call centers that are of good news. So we've figured out the method of making sure that our associates in those healthcare centers understand how to take those calls and how to manage the issues of those customers with ease. We know CenterPoint, one thing you have are a lot of call centers, and a lot of calls come in not only because people want to take on or adopt your services, but they might be having some issues. So we show you how to leverage your talent, especially when you've got an engagement opportunity that awaits. When we know when we engage our employees, we increase the value of our services, and that hits the bottom line immediately. We focus on 3 core areas: people, process, and profitability. We want to make sure the profitability model is strong. So as a consulting team, we come in to make sure the people that you've hired are doing the jobs inside of processes that are efficient. If your workload distribution needs to be managed, we're the consulting team that can see that big picture and understand where the kinks are in your chain and address the profit leaks. And typically they're in people or they're in the process. As a value add partner of CenterPoint Energy, we are committed to connecting to your core values. If those are the established values and they've been pushed down from the top, success is definitely imminent. We understand that employees respond to the leadership ahead, and we want to make sure that those core values are penetrating all the way through to the front line. They touch the customer. So as we're dealing and addressing our issues on the front line and working with your mid-level leadership, we're thinking about the accountability, the initiative that you want your teams to take, and the respect for the customers, investors, and employees that CenterPoint sits heavy at the core value center of their organization. We bring some success stories to you, and I'd love to share one in healthcare, where I personally, as the leader in my corporate years, back about maybe 10 years ago, I spent some time in a major organization in the Midwest. And so I have not only the diversity of understanding how to work in unionized environments, but also how to maneuver and leverage the opportunities that are regional. We know that every region in some ways have different service needs. And so what we've been able to do is help organizations in healthcare leverage their hiring process to make sure that they bring the talent in that they really want. When we have gaps in our services or in our capacity, it's typically right in the middle. Those mid-level leaders that need to come up through the ranks, know the business, understand it, and earn their stripes. And so as a service center leader, I learned firsthand and rose to the top myself through those very ranks. And so it's nothing like a tap on the shoulder to know that you're ready to take the next step of leadership. So I encourage you to think about the Kyra Company as you're considering the contestants that have pitched today. I'm excited to let you know that we're here to serve. Kyra Hardwick again, and welcome to the Kyra Company.
Thank you so much, Kyra. Thank you so much. Okay, judges, the floor is yours. Great job. If someone's talking, I think you might be muted for asking questions.
Hi, Kyra. This is Erin Rabin. I've got a quick question, and I'm going to preface this with an apology. I missed the last two pitch sessions, the original round. So can you, I'm trying to understand your services. Are you really specialty consulting, or is it more in the staff aug realm that you guys serve?
Absolutely. We're industry agnostic. We are a full service business development firm, and we function primarily in the operations of organizations. So we're looking at the internal flow of people working through their processes and your profitability model, finding those profit leaks. So we are general full service development.
So let me follow on to that. I know you've done some research on CenterPoint Energy and all that we do. You know, when you think about all the different businesses that we're in and our different states and footprint and things, where do you think you could best serve our company?
Well, one of the places that I believe that we make the greatest level of impact is understanding how to make sure you have a leveraged front-facing service experience for your customers. That's probably the most centric space we can make the greatest impact. And so that's where I would want to start understanding the service opportunities and what those engagement levels are to make sure we have optimized our talent.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think that might be the end of the questions. I'm just scrolling through to make sure I'm not missing anyone. All right, good. I don't see any mics on. The next, thank you so much, Kyra. Our next contestant is Jody Walters, and Jody Walters is with Centerline Energy Construction. Jody, welcome.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Good morning.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to have you imagine for a moment with me a project manager for a gas utility company who is simultaneously managing 7 different complex projects, all with tight budgets and strict deadlines. Her stress level is already maxed, and now that it's almost December, she's really feeling the pressure to complete as much as possible before her company's end-of-year budget crunch. To make the situation more difficult, now one of her contractors, who is awarded 2 of her 7 projects, is failing to perform. They are significantly behind schedule, and now the third-party inspectors on those jobs are calling her daily with quality concerns. To top it off, their cost overruns and change orders are now well beyond their original not-to-exceed prices. Her days are spent firing off emails to the contractor's upper management, and although they reply with promises to correct the issues, nothing tangible transpires, and the problems continue to snowball. The issues eventually become so apparent that she's ultimately forced to remove that contractor and find a replacement for them. And that's when she calls Centerline. At Centerline, we were able to get the project back on track, completed the work in half the time, and corrected all their quality issues. Although those projects were completed successfully, the additional time and cost incurred were a waste of the company's resources and extremely taxing on that project manager. At Centerline, we have a simple formula for delivering projects. Number 1, establish a well thought out plan up front. Number 2, provide regular updates to discuss issues before they become surprise problems. Number 3, actively work to identify value engineering and value added opportunities. Our goal is to develop a long-term trusted partnership with our clients. And we believe the qualities that set us apart are a focus on communication, efficiency, and customer service. In fact, the project manager from the previous story summed up the difference Centerline offers in her own words, stating, quote, Centerline has proven to do excellent and efficient work on a regular basis with terrific customer service at all levels. Their ability to adhere to a timeline and problem solve proved to be a terrific value for project dollars. Centerline Energy Construction is a certified woman-owned small business construction company located in Colorado. We have a focus on natural gas pipeline construction. We have the ability to work nationwide, including all 8 states that CenterPoint operates. Our field crews have experience working in various regions throughout the U.S. and are comfortable traveling. Depending on the duration requirements of the work, we would also consider supplementing our current workforce by hiring local crews as it's required. Our services consist of the construction of steel transmission pipelines up to 24-inch in diameter, PE distribution pipelines, natural gas services, reg stations, integrity management program inspections, as well as operator qualifications and training. We are very safety focused. We have 0 recordables to date for our company's history. We are registered with several industry safety compliance programs such as Veriforce, DISA, NCMS, and ISNet World. And we also maintain an in-house safety and OQ training program. As the story I shared earlier illustrates, our management team is dedicated to solving problems for our clients. With my background in construction management and my team's solid field experience in oil and gas construction, we provide a balanced approach to achieving project goals. In addition to the numerous projects we've completed, the accomplishments I'm most proud of speak to the difference of our culture. We were recently awarded the Better Business Bureau Spark Award winner, which recognizes startup companies who have integrated culture, character, and community into the heart and soul of their business. This recognition is a huge honor for us and highlights the reasons why we were so passionate about starting our own business. Thank you for allowing me to share a little about our company with you today. If you'd like to learn more about us, please check out our website at centerlineenergy.com. My name is Jody Walters. I'm CEO and co-owner of Centerline Energy Construction. And I'd love the opportunity to learn more about how we can partner together and ultimately earn a chance of becoming a trusted contractor for CenterPoint Energy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Judges, the floor is yours.
Hi, Jody. This is Erin Rabin.
Hi, Erin.
Excellent presentation. Your story at the beginning, I have to say, really was relatable. It sounds like our lives every October through December. So we've lived that, and you know, I'm very excited to hear that you guys can offer some solutions to that issue. But our goal is to not get there. So remind me again. I can't remember from your first presentation. You mentioned that you guys do steel up to 24-inch. Do you guys do plastic too, like 2-inch plastic?
Yes, we do. We currently are equipped to do up to 6-inch poly, but we are comfortable going as far as high as 24-inch. If needed, we could provide the right equipment and crews if needed. But currently, we're equipped to do 6-inch poly.
Got it. Okay. And then are you guys in a position that you would be able to potentially enter the Indiana or Ohio territories?
Yes, yes. And you know, that's something that we've looked at as we're looking to expand. So although we're based in Colorado, the majority of our work has actually been in Wyoming, and a lot of it in northern Wyoming, like 8 hours away from our main office. And so as I stated earlier, we are comfortable traveling, and if there was a long-term scenario, whether it was with poly or something more on a permanent basis, we would look at hiring local crews and then providing our management to make sure it was running the way that the Centerline expectations. But yes, as far as traveling for completing a project here or a project there, our crews are very comfortable with that.
Got it. All right. And one final add-on to the question. If we were to bring you into maybe an Indiana, Ohio type territory, tell me about your approach, especially on the distribution side. Typically those are local crews with, local presence from leadership. Tell me about your approach to onboarding and how you would ensure that you could successfully start to scale up in the territory, especially if you were given, a lower footage award, say 10,000 feet or something.
I would say if it was a lower footage of work, we would probably want to stick with our crews initially to make sure that we started out really strong and then identified local talent and start to bring them in and side by side with our current crews for a while until your team was comfortable and our team was comfortable and we had a really solid local team put together. Ultimately, we'd love to find opportunities to work with our clients wherever it makes sense for them. So our growth plan is really to support our clients. We're not just saying, hey, we'd like to move into Utah or we'd like to move into Nebraska more. It's where can we support our clients? And so if we, our approach would be to make sure that we are maintaining a high quality by providing the right talent for those crews first and foremost. And then once everyone's comfortable, then maybe our upper level management could, stay back at our home base, but we'd have a solid crew. I'm so sorry. We'd just have a solid established in those different regions.
Okay. And are you a union workforce?
No, we're not.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Catherine, kind of a follow-up to Aaron's question, but have you had to do any remote onboarding? So your crews seem to be primarily based out of Colorado, but if you were to pick on a local workforce or pull in some from a local workforce,
yes.
Have you been through that exercise before?
Yes, we have. So several of the projects in Wyoming, we had to ramp up our crew sizes for those and needed to do remote onboarding for those. So we used some virtual aspects as far as my business partner and I always do a welcome and here's our expectations for Centerline. We did that virtually. And then we supplied, we sent our OQ trainer to the location to make sure that he could do all the evaluations locally to the project with all the new hires. And then also all the new hire paperwork and that kind of thing. And then coordinated with our client to make sure that they could go through the client specific training local to that project also, instead of having to do it here in Colorado. So yes, we have been through that process. It's a little bit more, there's a little more to coordinate, but we've had to do it because that's a lot of where our projects are, is remote.
All right, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, this is Barb. Okay.
Uh-oh, Barb. I don't. Barb, I think you might be muted, so hold on one second. I can't hear you.
She's typing her message in the chat.
Okay. All right, got it. Thanks. Okay, her question is, can you please explain your leak repair work that you can perform?
So we can assist with leak repairs as far as on the I'm assuming are you talking about the distribution? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, so yes, our crews have had to do that before, been called out, and basically we work with the gas company to have them get things. They're on site while we're doing the work, making sure that everything is done right. But our crews are OQ'd in making sure that you know, they are safe while they're doing it, and that they have all the proper things put in place, and then we stop the gas and go to another make our repair on both sides of the damage. So, and I guess I would say it does somewhat, it is somewhat dependent on each gas company's procedure on how we do that.
Okay, I think she's good. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Let's just make sure no one's having a problem with their mic. And I think we're all good. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next contestant is Jane Henry, and Jane is with SeeHerWork.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
I'd like to start by first thanking both CenterPoint Energy and the Women's Business Enterprise Alliance to provide us this opportunity to communicate the need for history-making change that can positively impact our communities and increase profitability for CenterPoint Energy. Let's start with the problem, generating a history-making opportunity. Diversity inclusion has been an issue, a high-profile issue for years. Many institutions have implemented D&I programs as a way of doing business, yet we still have a massive gap in the knowing versus doing. After conducting over 50 focus groups across the nation with multiple industries and continuing our research today with other colleges on this fact, we hear the same thing for both the men and the women. The gear doesn't fit the women, so they don't look like or feel like they're part of the operating team. Because of this, they don't get the coaching and mentoring they desperately want and need. And because of that, they're isolated or they isolate themselves. And for all these reasons, they exit. And we continue to have massive labor shortages in jobs that are closest to equal pay. Hi, I'm Jane Henry, founder and CEO of SeeHerWork. We are CenterPoint Energy for a CenterPoint Energy solution, inclusion solution, where together we can close the knowing versus doing gap, starting with where the boots hit the ground and where we all know the biggest opportunities for sustainable change exist. SeeHerWork will observe your line crews, engineers, maybe even your shops, and provide an unbiased reflection of the current inclusion opportunities, and then provide practical solutions that could include different sourcing strategies, product manufacturing, leveraging process improvement experts like Kyra, or even technology improvements like Kelly does. Some might say diversity inclusion is a part of who we've been for so many years. Why shouldn't we do this change ourselves? In a word, no, you should not do it yourself. When you're inside the culture, you unconsciously end up looking like, sounding like, doing the same things, thus continuing the knowing versus doing gap because you're human. For example, we did it. SeeHerWork's mission from day one was to reduce injuries, save lives, and attract more women into labor shortages. We overlooked healthcare in the sense of nurses have been around for years, female doctors have been around for years, but the CDC recently released a study on COVID-19 and the impact in there. 73% of healthcare workers that are being impacted are female due to ill-fitting N95s. And we can no longer assume average size patterns shrunk down are going to work for people. And it's not just the women, the men are struggling too. Products that come in 2 letter sizes, you know, in medium, large, that's actually a 4 size differential. So for men, that's a 38 to 44. For women, that's a 6 to 12 in some of these products that are being delivered today. And oh, by the way, we have a reusable mask solution and could very much reduce your dependency on disposable N95s with a proactive attack on COVID-19 exposure at a 5 times cost saving. But I digress. Ask me about that later. Let's go into the problem that is presenting the opportunity. Recognize any of these signs? And by the way, if you do, it's okay. You're not alone. Do you see team members with ill-fitting clothing or equipment that are inhibiting not only a safety challenge, but inhibiting their performance? Maybe even chucking it just for the sake of getting the job done? Do you assume that all uniforms and personal protective equipment or PPE just are terrible and will never get better? I know I did. My aha was in the recovery of this house. Of your line crews, engineers, shops, do you know how many women make up that count? If you don't worry, you're not alone. The team members, do the team members speak up about these when the inclusion challenges present? Is there a stop work authority for inclusion? Maybe you've known this in your heart of hearts for some time, but you feel overwhelmed and consumed by all you must do, yet this topic continues to weigh heavily on your heart as you have your own experiences to leverage. You hear from your teams and you watch the news. Who can you call for help? In the past, the answer was no one. Today, you call SeeHerWork. SeeHerWork sets employers up for success by proactively engaging HR, supply chain, safety, operation, other suppliers, other distributors to create a repeatable, sustainable team environment that elicits maximum results. Starting with where the boots hit the ground, when we treat these workers like athletes and raise the entire team's gear up a level, now it's one team, one identity, increased profitability. Yes, I said it, profitability. We will get more out of you people and save you money on the purchases, and we have case studies to prove it. Just like workspace investments in the past that elicit maximum results and attract more customers, today's investments in work clothing and equipment keep your people secure, comfortable, and safe while visibly showing off your brand to consumers and changing the dialogue in the market. Diversity in business is vital to today's competitive world. Those that build capacity now are going to be winning markets at the end of COVID-19 instead of fighting for scraps. In my 20 years of creating sustainable change within organizations like yours, as a management of change consultant, I can tell you that an unbiased third party will move you forward faster. Incepted in the house that your new president, Dave Lazar, once built. Let's share this 5-minute spiel with him and see if we can get a powerhouse group together for 1 hour discovery session to start making history together. Thank you. That's any questions.
Thank you, Jane. Judges, the floor is yours.
Hey Jane, it's April. How are you?
Hey,
Great presentation. So you talked a lot about, ill-fitting PPE for women, and you spoke about the N95 mask. Can you talk a little bit more just about that? Is that something that you have in production, or what is your work around that?
Yeah, so we have 8 products that are in production today and are being sold on Lowe's.com, and that's really our starter pack, and that's just to get the conversation going, right? Just as an example, this was something we did for Disney Imagineering for their operating team to have well-fitting gear for both the men and the women, and we've got the male brand Fit4Work, F4Work, as well to make one operating team. The N95 is a longer discussion. I'd love to talk to you guys about it, but basically we are very good at bringing commercial or technologies that have not been tapped into to the market. We don't create it, we just bring all the people and technology together. So for instance, the same raw material manufacturers that make fire-resistant clothing we're very good friends with, they have a product that is infused with chlorine. It kills 99.99% of bacteria on contact. That's what the mask is made of, with a second layer of protection on the inside. The FDA doesn't know what to call it, so I can't sell it to consumers, but I can sell it to B2B. And great question, thank you.
Hey Jane, this is Erin Rabin. Quick question for you. Tell me a little bit more. You mentioned collaboration with supply chain and other functions to get some of these initiatives off the ground. Tell me a little bit more about how you collaborate with the supply chain function and maybe give me an example of a success story.
I love it. Thank you. So one of the things we've realized through all this, and you guys might have seen some of my previous presentations on this, I grossly underestimated the amount of change required to get this mission done. And that's where my previous skills come in, with taking a programmatic approach. You start with that discovery session and you start saying, okay, we believe, because only you guys know the best, we believe the biggest inclusion opportunities are kind of in this area, right? And so then we would set up a communication structure where we have an internal team, which we would be very clear about how much time we would need from them. And then we've got the external team, like myself and anybody I'm partnering with. I speak, you know, in addition to these beautiful, amazing, wonderful WBEs that I love partnering with, I do work with 3M, Honeywell, Bullard, and bring some of those things, those innovations in as well. So the idea is just to have that programmatic decision-making structure in place so that we're communicating and we're being very pragmatic about the decisions, because inevitably there are going to need to be some internal process changes to get this mission completed. How'd I do, Erin?
Great, thank you. That was a great answer, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Catherine, just for trying to refresh my memory, do you manufacture or do you partner with manufacturers to get items more tailored to specifically like women's clothing?
So the way we've now defined ourselves in this change, right, is we're like an R&D, great question, Catherine, because like we're an R&D workshop. And so we do the initial prototyping and manufacturing. You can kind of see it behind me and all the cool tools that we have. And then we put together a technical pack that we then go and push out to other manufacturers for the mass production. And I think that's the way that we're going to continue to operate, so that we can be very agile for this change. So we'll probably be like 8 to 10 people max in our group, but we need to be able to leverage solutions that exist, build those partnerships, and then bring those in so that we can quickly react to the need. One of the groups we work with is the Cowboys organization. They've been phenomenal. I'm a University of Arkansas grad. Didn't realize the entire Cowboys organization was University of Arkansas as well. So they've been awesome about connecting us to a whole bunch of manufacturers as well.
Great, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
April, one follow-up thing that I think is great about, I didn't mention this, Catherine, because you might be thinking about it, is by us leveraging manufacturers that are already doing this, they already have the UL certifications, the testing labs, all of those things set up. So that's, again, gives us the agility that we need to move forward. So it's important. That's part of our screening criteria.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was something that was like on my mind. But when you mentioned some of the people who you were working with, I knew that like if you were doing R&D type work for them, then that would be the case. So great. Thank you.
Thank you. Great work. Woo, this is good. I've been reading the chats. I love all of the interaction. Let's keep it going. We are going to welcome Zan Difede, and she is with Fidelity Fuels and Specialty Products. Zan, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thanks again for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I'm going to try to maybe hit a few points that I didn't talk about last week, and then also maybe drill down and give some more details on some of the products and services that I think are directly maybe of use to CenterPoint. So my name is Difede. I'm the president and founder of Fidelity Fuels and Specialty Products. We were founded on the last few days of 2014. And just to give you a quick recap, in 2015, which was our first year of operations, we had $4 million in revenue. And in 2019, we had increased that by over 850% with over $34 million in gross revenues. We're a Texas-based company, but we are operated in 28 states. All of the states that CenterPoint's in, with the exception of Minnesota, but we're working on that now. So we're able to cover any of the areas, and then a lot of other areas where you're not yet. Some of the services, and again, some of these will probably be repeats, but I'm going to try to maybe go into a little more detail. As far as fuel supply for bulk fleet locations, we currently supply actually some of maybe other vendors to CenterPoint. We're the bulk fuel supplier for North Houston Pole. We keep their fuel tanks full, and we get calls from them. They'll call and let us know whenever they're getting low, and we'll take transport loads out. But a lot of our other customers, we'll put fuel tanks out in their yards, and then we also put monitors on them. And then whenever the monitors, alert us whenever we go out and make fuel deliveries. So, so again, we're able to offer floating indexes that float with the NYMEX every day, and then also flat price contracts where you can lock in a flat price for a 6-month term or a 12-month term. The longest we've been able to do so far was a 24-month term. And some of the vendors that we support are using flat price contracts for the fuel supply to support CenterPoint. One of our biggest growth areas has been in construction. So we do on-site fuel storage for fuels and lubes, also diesel exhaust fluids and other, hydraulic oils and things like that. Some of our current jobs, just to kind of get the capacity of what we can handle. In Louisiana, we're in Plains Marketing. We're also in the P66 refinery, and we're also servicing the National Guard. In Texas, we just finished up BP Texas City project for industrial specialists, which was a maintenance project there. We're in New Star, Corpus Christi, and we are continuing to service McCarthy Construction in the Port of Houston Barbers Cut project. We're in the Wild Horse Terminal in Cushing, Oklahoma, and then we were just awarded by one of our generator companies the fuel supply in California for the new Amazon distribution center. That's a minimum of a 1-year supply contract to supply generator fueling for that location. Regarding direct fueling and wet hose fueling, we have all size companies. We do the fueling for Healthman Ford, for example. We'll go out and make sure that all the vehicles are fueled up at night. We just finished Penhall Construction 290 project where we would go out every evening. They wanted the trucks off the road for work hours. So we would go out between 7 and 9 and refuel all their equipment and all their trucks after hours. And they had us set up on a 3-day-a-week schedule. So that was a nice schedule to do. We'd go out 3 nights a week and go fuel their equipment. And then I did mention this on the last presentation. We were called out by United Airlines to put on-site fuel stations for their employees during Hurricane Harvey so that they could come by, show their IDs, and we would fuel their vehicles so they were able to get to and from work. And then we also just did North Houston Pole wet hosing. They responded to a tornado outside of Livingston in April of this year, and we were called out to keep all their trucks fueled off-site by wet hosing them during the time that they were out replacing power poles. So a lot of things that may not be directly with CenterPoint, but are indirectly supporting CenterPoint now. We are also able to do generator leasing on a national basis, and we can lease generators and also do the fuel for the generators. We have 4 large national suppliers for that. One of them is Cat 5, which was part of this competition early on. We do a lot of work with Cat 5. We actually are in a lot of partnerships with them on PPE supplies. They were kind of like us, branched out a little bit during the pandemic, and so we do work with them now. We can also do generator fuel testing and fuel replacement. We're working with Intertech, which is a global oil and gas laboratory. We'll go out and sample fuel and they'll actually decide whether or not it needs to be replaced or not, and then we'll dispose of the bad fuel and replace it with new diesel. PPE supplies, we just signed a contract actually for bulk isopropyl alcohol which is really in demand right now. We can supply it by transports, totes, and drums. We have a supply of finished hand sanitizers. We've been packaging that for probably the last couple of months. And then the masks and gowns and things like that we've supplied to some hospitals and nursing facilities. And then we're part of the tongue twister site support service team for Shell. So we are part of Shell's corporate office support in Houston, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, California, and Alabama. We supply the PPE supplies for their corporate offices in those locations. And then I talked to one of our chemical suppliers during this last week. I had some time to do some more research, and we're really talking to them about some of their products that might might be of use to CenterPoint. And so we're in a purchasing agreement for sulfuric acid, caustic soda, and hydrochloric acid, which is used in water treatment in power generation. So that's something that we hadn't talked about last week, but maybe something that could be of use to CenterPoint. All of our customers get a designated account management team. It's 2 people that specialize in their type of business. During emergency response, we may put 4 people on it since it's 24/7 and could go on for months. I think during Hurricane Harvey, we probably had 6 people that were working on fuel supply. During those times, we may be pulling fuel out of Tennessee to come into Houston, or it could come in from anywhere, but refineries are shutting down, trucks are tight, and so we're going further and further away to get fuel. And my background being national fuel supply for Love's travel stops, we have a lot of contacts in really every state and trucking in every state to bring fuel in from outlying areas and to make sure that we keep fuel supplied. And then really the only other thing I wanted to hit on, the last presentation I talked about our core values.
Stan?
Yes.
You might be able to hit on that in the questions. You are past your 5 minutes, so I'm going to open the floor for the judges.
I can barely hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I said you might be able to tie that into one of your questions in responding to the judge because you're past your 5 minutes. So I'm going to open the floor for the judges.
Oh, okay.
Judges, the floor is yours.
Hey, Stan, it's April. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great presentation and a lot more information, and appreciate that. You talked a little bit about your PPE supplies, and I think you spoke to the hand sanitizer and it being delivered in drums, etc. What are you doing just to make sure, just with the recently expanded list of issues that the FDA put out with specific hand sanitizer, I believe it had methanol or something in certain products. What are you doing to make sure you're sourcing good products and safe products for businesses to purchase from you?
So the finished product, we only are purchasing from FDA approved suppliers, and they are certified by the FDA. And then the ethanol that we're selling, we know that it's being blended into hand sanitizer, but we don't sell that domestically for blending. It's just one of the components of the hand sanitizer. And that's why we recently signed the contract for IPA, which is the best to use. It's 99% pharmaceutical grade isopropyl alcohol. There's a lesser grade, it's an 86% that we can use, but it's not used in pharmaceutical hand sanitizer. But mainly we look for the FDA approval. And we buy that from a distillery that's also one of our lube suppliers. And so we know them and we know what their quality standards are.
Hi, I have a question. This is Elise. Fortunately, Catherine and I think, know a lot about sanitizer over the past couple of months. She's probably tired of me, but is your sanitizer liquid, or does it have a gel component with like aloe mixed in it for moisturizing components?
So we have both. The product that we originally started packaging was just a liquid, and personally I prefer it because I don't like the gel, but the new contract that we just signed is for a completed, it's a gel hand sanitizer. So we have both. They can both be in drums, totes, or transports. But so I guess the short answer is we can do either one.
Okay, great. Do you only offer those like larger quantity sizes, or do you have anything that's like 8, 16, 32 ounce with a pump top?
So when we package it, the smallest that we have packaged ourselves has been in gallon containers, but we are working with a packager that can put it in smaller containers. The problem really is the containers. We've tried to get the spray tops for a month, and they're projected out. We're actually looking at a supplier out of country right now to bring them in. But in that case, we can get the smaller packages, but we'll outsource the packaging on that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe
I think Elise got all my questions. Her and I have talked so much about hand sanitizer for the last 3 months. I think we got it all at this point. You mentioned an isopropyl and an ethanol. You said you were moving away from the ethanol base. Is that correct?
Well, there's the problem that we have is just because I was at Love's, that's where I went for our ethanol. It's fuel grade ethanol. It's the same ethanol that you put in your cars. And a lot of times that'll meet spec. It'll still be usable in the US by their standards. But the problem is most of the ethanol suppliers are buying from a bunch of different sources, and they can't separate out which is the good and the bad. And so the cost to test every batch is expensive, and it just doesn't make sense for the risk. I think that there's been over 100 deaths in Mexico just by people drinking the hand sanitizer. And so we've steered away from that, and that's why like I said, we did the IPA. It's much more expensive when you hear it just on the surface, but when you drill down in small packaging, it's really not that significant of a difference, and you're getting 99% isopropyl. Something you go to the Target or grocery store and buy.
Okay, all right, great. Yeah, that was my question, was more around I have hesitations about fuel grade ethanol products being used, so it's part of something that Elise and I have talked about quite a bit. So,
and I think originally there was such a desperate, everyone needed something, and maybe it was better than nothing originally, but I think a lot of people have been able to tweak it, and the production, there's been a lot more distilleries that have switched over to making this type of alcohol. So it's more available, it's more expensive, but well, you can't put a price tag on the effects of someone using ethanol over and over again. And the methanol that's in it is actually a really small amount, but there's some other carcinogens that are in it that just can't be used.
Yeah, the FDA made some allowances in the near term, but it's something I think everybody should start to move away from.
They've kind of reeled that back in now.
Yeah. All right, great, thank you.
I have one more question, and then we will close this out and go for a break. The question is from Carol Banner, and she is saying, can you please expand on what you do with North Houston Pole Line?
So North Houston Pole is an account that when I say that we have the best, and that was one thing I didn't get to, but our team is like, it's not that we won't fail because it's personal, but we just can't fail. And so these accounts, a lot of our accounts are ones that they brought with them. And North Houston Pole is one that came with one of our sales reps. And we do their bulk fueling for their fleet here in Houston. And then, like I said, whenever there was a tornado out near Livingston, we go out and we did their wet hose fueling into their bucket trucks and into any on-site equipment that they have. So I don't know if we're their exclusive fuel supplier, but when I asked the sales rep yesterday, she said she thinks we are probably 95% of their fuel comes from Fidelity. And we sell them lubes and diesel exhaust fluid also for their trucks.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are going to take a quick eye break, and that means that you will turn off your video and you can turn off mute your sound. We're going to play some music for your listening pleasure. You can get up, move around, dance, take a break, get your coffee, but join us right back here at 10:15, I believe. Let me just check really quick. Yes, we will come right back at 10:15, and Kelly Ireland will kick it off for us, so we will get right back at it. Okay, take your break, videos off, sound off. Let's listen to that music and give your eyes a little break. To kick it right off and get started with our next contestant, Kelly Ireland, and Kelly is with CB Technologies. Kelly, the floor is yours.
Thank you. If you're like most, stepping into 2020 came with the excitement of not only starting a new year, but starting a new decade. Little did we know what 2020 would become, because we at CBT like to always look at the silver lining in any difficulty, and 2020 has been no exception. Hi, my name is Kelly Ireland. I'm the founder and CEO of CBT, a new breed of company that is so different, our industry had to come up with a new category in order to describe who and what we are today. CBT opened its doors in 2001 as a value-added reseller, but we didn't stay a typical VAR for long. Our largest client, Boeing, needed help with high-performance computing. CBT, working with the leading HPC product and software manufacturers, provided the integration services, delivering over $500 million in HPC clusters over the last 15 years. In 2012, CBT became a diverse supplier to Ford Motors, and we developed in-house a custom global B2B portal to facilitate their IT infrastructure procurement. The CBT portal supports Ford's US locations as well as 40 foreign countries. Our portal provides the structure for Ford to be able to adhere to IT standards, the integration of the Ford Asset Management Form, and facilitates all global procurement requirements that includes currency exchange, trade block adjusters, and multiple language support. Last year, this portal helps facilitate a record $90 million in IT spend by Ford and marked the 7th full year of zero downtime on our portal. Our success in HPC and B2B allowed us to jump into the next new significant technology area, which is known as Industrial Internet of Things, or Industrial IoT, part of the digital transformation journey. We've spent the last 3 years gaining knowledge, experience, and expertise in industrial IoT. And based on being a very early adopter, as well as spending significant time validating these technologies while building the refinery of the future at TechSmart Chemical in Galena Park, Texas, CBT is now referred to as a new category called Domain Expert Integrator. Industrial IoT is the combination of IT, information technology, so think server, storage, network, and OT, operational technology, think equipment or systems that you use to produce electricity, transport gas, regulate distribution, etc. In the simplest of terms, it's using new technologies to gather information from the edge. So the edge, think anywhere but in the data center, and using that data to develop intelligent insights that allow you to make better decisions, reduce costs, improve service delivery, increase worker safety, enhance security and sustainability, and ultimately deliver increased profitability. These business outcomes are possible by using industrial IoT solutions developed to provide condition monitoring and predictive maintenance, video analytics, asset intelligence, and the connected worker. 5 minutes isn't nearly enough time to explain all of this, but one solution became extremely important during the COVID pandemic, and especially for several of your fellow utility and energy companies in North America. The connected worker consists of a hands-free wearable device that is integrated with the capabilities to deliver the solution that addresses exactly what the workers need. Capabilities that CBT has already integrated, and please note, these uses can and are being continually combined to enhance the user's overall capabilities. We can do video recording and editing, capturing tribal knowledge, training new hires, creating audit trail evidence. We can do digital workflows, step-by-step procedures, and inspections with ability to sign off on the completed work. Voice entry of information into Excel, Word, or other Word-based data sheets. Remote observation of trainees, think distribution linemen, the guys in the bucket. Currently, the instructors need to be in the bucket with them, view from 40 feet below or in an adjacent bucket. That is no longer needed. Remote OQ training. Only qualified individuals can perform work on gas pipelines, and they must go through recertification every 3 years with the evaluator witnessing them performing the task. The bi-directional visual and audio of the connected worker allows the evaluator the ability to complete this remotely, the ability to push and pull relevant documents and videos, schematics, manuals, instructions, standard operating procedures, live video streaming, allow the team to share information remotely, including via live video sessions, reducing need for on-site assistance, better access to feedback and faster resolution times, and something we've used quite a bit, providing real-time access to remote experts while in the field. CBT has continued to innovate during this time, taking the technologies that have become part of the COVID new norm, like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and WebEx, and we've quickly integrated them into daily connected work usage. CBT's 2020 vision allowed us to be fully prepared as the top domain expert integrator in providing that necessary bridge between our clients' industrial IoT goals and their reality. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present. Questions?
Hi, Kelly. This is Erin Rabin. I have a question. First of all, excellent presentation. One thing I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about is the portal that you developed with Ford to help ensure compliance with IT policies in the procurement process. Definitely an opportunity there to have some deeper dialogue with you, but tell me about how, tell me a little bit more about how that manages the compliance with policies. Does it bolt on to a traditional ERP? Sure.
Ford has distinct standards when it comes to their infrastructure, especially server, when you get into compute. And what we did is the portal facilitates bundling or standards. So let's say they have small, medium, large, extra large, extra large, or however they want to have them. We facilitate putting those bundles together. Those are updated on a monthly basis. And what we do is have the structure of the bundle. So it'll break out and show them what's in it, but then it also has options that are also within the standards that says you can add this CPU, you can add this drive, you can add this memory, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, it also drives the standards in. They have to have some sort of warranty support uplift. And depending on how critical the infrastructure is, it could either be same day, next day, et cetera. And that is also listed in there, allowing them to pick which one is appropriate for the specific order.
Great, and just one follow-up question there. Is this a standalone system, or is it a bolt-on to a potential ERP, or did you integrate it into their ERP system?
We integrated it into their systems. We integrated it both into the OEM system that supplies some of the products, as well as integrated it into some of Ford's, including their asset management, being able to input it directly into their asset management system.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is that all the questions? This has been great. All right, this is great. Thank you so much. Our next contestant is Ludmila. She goes by Mila Golovine with MasterWord Services. Mila, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. And I would like to thank CenterPoint and thank WBEA for this amazing opportunity. MasterWord was born out of a dream of connecting people across language and culture and enabling language access to education, healthcare, government services, providing equal opportunity to all people. Today, MasterWord provides a full range of translation services, website localization, interpretation, in-person, virtual, as well as over the phone and video remote in over 250 languages, including American Sign Language, as well as document remediation and Section 508 compliance to enable vision challenged people to have access to information and services. As a success story, I would like to talk about the I Speak initiative, when we partnered with the City of Houston Department of Neighborhoods to help non-English speakers in our city have access to city services and information, in Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Arabic, Urdu, and other languages spoken in our great city. City of Houston, according to the Kinder Institute, is the most diverse city in the United States today. We speak over 145 languages. 43% of the people in Houston speak a language other than English at home, and 26% of the people here don't speak English well at all. According to the University of Houston, this trend will only continue to increase. And by 2030, Hispanic population is expected to grow by 35% and speakers of other languages by 52%. Today, CenterPoint Energy delivers natural gas to homes and businesses in 8 states, all of them incredibly diverse. For example, in addition to English and Spanish, in Arkansas, people speak Marshallese, Samoan, Hawaiian. In Indiana, German, French, Dutch. Louisiana, French Creole, Italian, Vietnamese. Minnesota, Hmong, Aroma, Somali. Mississippi, French. Ohio, Arabic, Pennsylvania, Dutch, Chinese, Japanese, Twi. Oklahoma, Vietnamese and Cherokee. And of course, very diverse language map of Texas. Ability to relate and work effectively across cultures and diversity, or cultural intelligence, is the key to organizational success and effective leadership in the 21st century. Like Nelson Mandela said, if you talk to a man in the language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. MasterWord can help CenterPoint speak to the hearts of its clients and is looking forward to partnering with CenterPoint Energy to help it achieve its goals of leading the nation and becoming America's premier energy delivery company by delivering safe, reliable, and efficient energy and delivering customer-centric services with a focus on safety, integrity, accountability, initiative, and respect by providing language access and content accessibility. By having the website and customer communications, both written and video, available in multiple languages, including American Sign Language and blind people accessible, CenterPoint Energy can enhance customer engagement, demonstrate inclusion and diversity, ensure superiority in customer service and delivering value, as content accessibility leads to understanding that leads to satisfaction. Improve safety by communicating to all clients, including deaf and hard of hearing during disaster times like hurricanes, floods, pandemics, thus acting with integrity and accountability. By empowering CenterPoint customer service and field operation teams with instant access to over-the-phone and video remote interpreters in over 250 languages, CenterPoint Energy can offer customer-centric services, again, improve safety, achieve operational efficiencies by reducing the number of repeat calls and visits that happen due to misunderstanding of information by end clients. By having internal training, safety, and HR documents available in the languages spoken by CenterPoint Energy employees and teams on the ground, CenterPoint Energy can maintain impeccable standards of regulatory compliance and operational safety, as understanding leads to adherence, thus effective communication improves safety. We would love to see communities powered by CenterPoint Energy, supported by language access, powered by MasterWord.
Thank you. Can you hear me better?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, great. So great presentation. I know we talked a little bit about this last time, but since we have some additional folks from CenterPoint on, I wanted you to maybe retouch on the aspect we talked last time about, like when I worked in our public awareness group and we had to target the language of the residents and our customers in the different areas. Could you expand a bit on how like our customers in Arkansas or Oklahoma would maybe need a different type of language than in Houston or in Louisiana, because our bill inserts and the information that our customers see has to be relatable to them. And so how your services could be used for that.
Thank you very much for your question. Great question. And it's not just bill inserts. It's also, for example, you have great alerts about scams on your website today. And that's the information needed for the customers. We will adjust the register of the language and the dialect of the language based on the demographic where the inserts and the information is going to go to. So Spanish spoken in Texas is slightly different than Spanish spoken, for example, maybe in the northern part of the United States. And then Spanish, of course, spoken in Mexico. It's the same regional differences as between UK English and American English. And in order to ensure compliance, you want to make sure that you have complete understanding by the person who receives it. So we're able to address those regional differences.
Okay, thank you. And so we would not, like, would we have to be knowledgeable of the language that's needed for each of the areas that we work in, or would you be able to tell us the dialect of the area that we could make sure we have that target audience, and we're communicating effectively to them?
And there's a very cost-effective way of doing that. And we would also like to help you with content management to make sure that we look and you don't have different states translating the same information for different parts. So we can help you manage effectively your content in a centralized way that will allow to reuse the content through the tools and technology available today. And that includes training, translation memory, customized machine translation, AI engines. Our industry today is no longer pen and paper. It's very technology driven with humans making sure that the quality is there. And I cannot hear.
Are you? Can you hear me better now?
I can hear. I can hear.
All right. All right. Great job. Our last contestant is Katie Luquette, and Katie is from Texas Waste Control. Katie.
Great job, ladies. Y'all all did wonderful. And I really hate that I have to go last on this one because y'all are a hard act to follow. So thank you. Well, good morning, y'all. I'm Katie Luquette, the proud Texas woman owner of TexasWasteControl.com, the best little dumpster company serving the Lone Star State. And let me first start off by saying thank you to WBEA and CenterPoint for having me back for round 2. I'm very honored and humbled to have made it this far, and I look forward to what may come next. That being said, let's jump right into it. I'd like you to all take a moment and think about a time where you just signed up for a new service company, let's say a cell phone service company. That first month has ended and your first bill has arrived at your door, and you're excited to see how much money that you've saved since you made the switch. You're expecting to pay maybe what you saw in the catchy little commercial, you know, the one with the cute little green guy, or, you know, at least what was on your service agreement when you signed the contract. You open up the bill only to be treated to a painful case of bill shock. Suddenly, that $50 monthly payment that you were thinking you were going to be paying has jumped to $150. As you try to contain your anger, you read through the charges slowly. You're reading universal fund fee, wireless tax, oh, and my personal favorite, convenience fees. Who exactly is a convenience fee convenient for? A question that will plague mankind, well, until they decide to change the lingo. We've all been here, right? Now, let's say that you're a purchase agent or maybe a construction site supervisor for a construction company, and you receive a phone call from your accounts payable department asking, why did you spend a quarter of your project budget on dumpster and over? Again, you're suffering from bill shock. But that's okay, because at Texas Waste Control, we have the perfect solution for bill shock. It's fixed flat rates on each dumpster that we service you with. And here's how we service one company and fix their cases of bill shock. Now, Thompson Mats is a current supplier of equipment mats for CenterPoint Energy. And I first had the privilege of working with the site supervisor at Thompson Mats about a year ago. A Kentucky man that was not familiar with the Texas terrain that found himself working down in Wadsworth, Texas. He called up Texas Waste Control because they had started picking up 20 miles of equipment mats. And for those of you that don't know, equipment mats are wooden or plastic mats that are used to stabilize the ground so that large equipment like excavators, bulldozers, and even 18-wheelers can drive far off-road and not have to worry about getting stuck. But the problem is the heavier the equipment, the more broken mats, meaning more dumpsters, meaning more disposal. Now, my buddy Kentucky, he knows that there's going to be a lot of disposal on this particular site. And he needs a disposal company that's going to be ready with fast turnarounds, safe drivers, and of course, rates that aren't going to break his budget. After talking with Kentucky and offering him our 15, 20, 30, and 40-yard roll-off dumpsters, we quickly settled on delivery the next day of 2 30-yard roll-offs to be swapped out continuously until the job was complete. We swapped out dumpsters with Kentucky and his crew for over a week, making the total 25 dumpsters. Naturally, after the job was complete, me and my crew sent over our invoicing, but then I received a weird phone call from Kentucky and the accounts payable department, both kind of struggling with the same thing, bill shock. But in this case, it wasn't painful. It was absolutely delightful, but they were still confused. Where are the environmental fees? Where are the fuel surcharges, the additional taxes? To which I could only reply, I didn't include those in my initial quote, so why would I charge them to you now? Since that project over a year ago, we have done 20 projects with Thompson Mats, and they no longer suffer from bill shock when it comes to dumpster rental and disposal services within this great state of Texas. Texas Waste Control is the disposal company that you need on your sites that has a cure for bill shock, that's not limited by growth, that is the well-oiled machine that is ready to take on your Texas-sized trash challenges. Thank you again, CenterPoint and WBEA, for allowing me this opportunity. Hopefully you have a fabulous afternoon. I look forward to being a part of CenterPoint's amazing vendor team. Texas Waste Control has the waste solutions that you've been looking for when it comes to material haul-off. I'm Katie Luquette, the proud Texas woman owner of TexasWasteControl.com, the best little dumpster company serving the Lone Star State. I would be happy to address any questions or comments at this time.
Thank you, Katie. Judges, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Katie. This is Catherine. Do you typically do more of a kind of a project-based service, or something that's more of a kind of like monthly service for trash haul, something more permanent versus something more project-based?
So I offer both. I actually, you know, one of my biggest customers, ones I've been with the longest, is an egg farm that is in Bowling, Texas, and they've got like 4 farms, and I have about 18 dumpsters that I service, you know, whenever they're ready to go. That kind of depends on their time of year. And then, you know, I have people like Thompson Mats. They call me up when they need me. When they're picking up those mats, they never know how much disposal they're going to have. But again, that's a project basis. I think the last job I did with them actually was about a month ago, and that's because they've been kind of slow because of this whole COVID thing. But, you know, it's kind of both. I do permanent and I do project by project, and that's just kind of catering to the customer's needs.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, were you done, Catherine? Okay, this is Barb. Great presentation. So question on the types of waste that you can pick up. Are you able to dispose at all the different types of landfills, or are there restrictions as to what type of waste you can haul off?
So I do not do hazardous waste. I will say that. I am registered to haul off class 1 industrial waste. So that would be something like telephone poles, because they're soaked in creosote. So it's not hazardous, but it is considered class 1 industrial. So, you know, so I'm not really restricted as far as landfills go. It's what that landfill would take in the area that you're talking about. So as far as that goes, I mean, the only thing I'm restricted on is hazardous waste, and I don't deal in that whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Katie. This
Hi,
is
Katie. Am I echoing? Or was that 2 people?
I think it was 2
Okay.
people.
2 people.
Okay, sorry to whoever else that was. I'm just going to kind of piggyback on Barb's. Do you consider PCB hazardous? I know some people do and don't. Will you haul PCB?
No, ma'am, I do not consider that hazardous. I consider that class 1.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Hi, Katie, Aaron Rabin.
Hey.
Presentation today. Lots of energy, so thank you for that. My question is, you mentioned on your the example about the Kentucky company, you mentioned that on their final bill you didn't include the environmental fee or a couple of the other types of fees because they weren't included in your quote. One, are those fees real? And then 2, is this something that you regularly don't bill the client for? And if so, how do you absorb those costs?
So when I quote somebody, I don't want there to be any surprises, which is the whole reason I went with this bill shock thing. I don't want you to open up your bill and be shocked by it. Now, if there were environmental fees that I was going to incur, and that is based off of a landfill. The landfill that I go to, or it would depend on the area, but if the landfill is not going to charge me environmental fees, which some of them don't, I'm not going to pass that cost on to you. It's not, I know that some of my competitors will pass that along whether it's there or not, but that is all based off of a landfill fee. Now, like I said, I try to make it very flat rated, and I know that, like I said, some of my competitors, they don't do that. They don't honor what they tell you on the phone. Hey, it's $450 for a dumpster, and then you get that bill and it's $650. Same thing with like which is why I use that cellular phone bill. You think you're going to pay this, and turns out it's not. So I like to be very upfront and honest with all costs that my customers are going to incur in any area throughout the state.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think that is the last question. Wow. I just have to say, I put it in the chat. I mean, there's so much energy, so much capacity, so much value here. Honestly, congratulations to everyone. I've actually seen some improvements from the previous round. So great job for taking some feedback and moving to this next stage. I'm very excited. Judges, before we move on to deliberation, do you have any clarifying or burning questions for any of the contestants? Okay, well then, if there are no other, now we are going to announce our winners, and I'm so excited. I will tell you, let's just give our judges one more round of applause. This was not easy. Give them a round of applause. And then just hands up to all of our, all rocked it out. I'm so excited. So I just want to say that this is not the end. If you did not emerge as the winner of this event, don't despair. There are plenty of other opportunities. We will be continually working with CenterPoint Energy. WBEA does not give up, and we are constantly looking for ways to create engagement and facilitate opportunities. So after this, if you did not emerge in the top group, to move forward with what you win, which is a roundtable, an exclusive roundtable discussion with the senior leaders of CenterPoint and the business unit representatives that are based on those individuals who have won the pitch. So basically the buyers, the decision makers are going to be in a room with you for a roundtable discussion that we will coordinate the date and time at a later time. So at this time, I just want, let's just give it up. And Stephanie, if you can give us our applause real quick for all of our WBE contestants. Yay. All right, so drum roll. Do we have drum roll? Okay, well, hey, clap works too. That's good too. Okay, so when I told you all this is difficult because you're so amazing, now you'll believe me, because while we were supposed to only have the top 2, we have the top 3. That's how difficult, that's how close this was. So our top 3 contestants that are moving on to the grand prize of this championship round is Jody Walters with Centerline Energy Construction. Let's give her a round of applause. Yay! Zan with Fidelity Fuels Specialty Products. Give her a round of applause. And Kelly Ireland with CB Technology. Let's give them a round of applause. Awesome, awesome. Well, congratulations, ladies. I am so excited for you. This has been amazing. So I just want to tell you, your CenterPoint crew has something really planned for you. And where do we have our pom-poms up? Can we put the camera spotlight, Kimberly, really quick? Because I just want to give one more congratulations to our top 3 finalists. Yay! Wait, Kimberly, you're muted. We didn't hear it. We got to unmute you. Do it again. Yeah. Yay! Thank you so much. To all of our other WBE contestants, like I said, this is not the end. We have already had conversations in the judges round where we will reconnect with everyone when appropriate. We really want to make sure that you all know that this is just the next step to engagement with CenterPoint Energy. They are evolving how they do business in our new normal, and they are excited to get to know you all in various opportunities throughout the year. So stay tuned. Your information will be shared with everyone so that you all stay tuned with each other. And then you will also receive your feedback sheets. And then don't forget, if you want to make an appointment with one of our WBEA mastermind coaches or our consultants, you can do that. And stay tuned for other virtual trainings that WBEA has throughout the year. Thank you so much. It has been exciting. You all have an amazing rest of the day.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you, everybody.
Let us dance our way out.
Yeah. And thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.